Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our 9 p.m. English news edition. Here are the headlines. Djibouti pilgrims visit a major historical site in Mecca. For the international news, in the Middle East, in Gaza, temporary truce to free hostage Aiden Alexander. It was the headlines, the news now. This visit, organized under the careful supervision of the official Djiboutian Hajj delegation, allowed the faithful to reflect at the site of the famous Battle of Uhud and to meditate on the lessons drawn from this historic event. Accompanied by religious guides and members of the delegation, the pilgrims also paid tribute to the martyrs of the battle, notably Sayyidina Hamza, the uncle of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing upon him, whose tomb lies at the foot of the mountain. The head of Djiboutian delegation, Ismail Hassan, praised the discipline and devotion of the pilgrims while highlighting the importance of this visit and the spiritual preparation of the faithful before performing the rites of Hajj.
لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لبيك الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد.
And now the first mosque built by the Prophet Muhammad والسلام, after his migration from Mecca, welcomed in an atmosphere of reverence and religious devotion. The pilgrims who were able to perform 2 units of prayer in this mosque, whose spiritual value is highly regarded in Islamic tradition. According to an authentic hadith, a prayer offered at Quba Mosque is equivalent to performing an Umrah. This visit marks an important milestone in the journey of Djiboutian pilgrims before their departure to Mecca for the performance of the major pilgrimage. On site, our colleague Khadr Abdullah and Jamal Ate captured these meaningful moments through images reflecting the depth of faith and the brotherhood among pilgrims.
الملك لا شريك له لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك له لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك لبيك الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك.
And now, surrounded by century-old palm trees, the Djiboutian pilgrims had the opportunity to taste various types of dates, including the renowned Ajwa variety, cherished for its spiritual and medicinal benefits. This stop provided the pilgrims with a moment of relaxation and cultural discovery before their departure to Mecca, where they are preparing to perform the Hajj rites with the utmost devotion. We now invite you to discover some footage captured.
والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك 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 اللهم لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك.
And now information, the Ministry of Muslim Affairs and Waqf Properties inform all pilgrims the scheduled times for presenting themselves at the airport for flight to Medina are as follows. The second flight to Tuesday, May 13, 2025 at 11 o'clock a.m. Third flight Sunday, May 18, 2025 at 5 o'clock a.m. Fourth flight Thursday, May 22nd, 2025 at 5 o'clock a.m. We remind each pilgrim to bring their passport and identification badge and all travel documents. Please also respect the authorized baggage weight, a maximum of 2 suitcases, each weighing 20 kilograms. Please keep any necessary medication for chronic illness with you at all times. We thank all pilgrims for their punctuality and cooperation. And now we're coming back in Djibouti, where in accordance with the provision of Articles 12 and 21 of the Rules of Procedure of the National Assembly, the Conference of Presidents was held on Monday, May 12, under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. Dileita Mohamed Dileita, President of the National Assembly. At this conference, which focused on the referral of pending legislative texts to the standing committees, the government was represented by Prime Minister, His Excellency Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamel Mohammed. On the parliamentary side, participants include the first and second vice president, the leaders of the RPP and fruit parliamentary groups, the president of the standing committees, as well as the general budget rapporteur. Also in attendance was Mr. Ismail Gulal, Secretary General of the National Assembly. The agenda focused on the organization of legislative work, the scheduling of the parliamentary agenda for the coming weeks, and the referral of pending draft laws to the relevant committees. The Committee on Social Development and Environmental Protection was instructed to study a draft law. And now, as part of its citizen outreach program, the National Assembly hosted students from School 1 in the Ali Sabih region on Monday, May 12. Upon their arrival at Parliament, His Excellency Mr. Dileita Mohamed Dileita, President of the National Assembly, welcomed the school's director, Mr. Hassan Mohamed Jama, the teaching staff, and the students' parents for a courtesy visit at his office. This moment of exchange reaffirmed the importance of dialogue between Republican institutions and the key players in the educational community. After this meeting, the students were taken to the plenary hall where the official visit began with the solemn performance of the national anthem. The student had the privilege of discussing with His Excellency Mr. Dileita Mohamed Dileita. Also present were the Honorable Mrs. Safia Elmi, First President, the Honorable Omar Ahmed Wa'ais, Second Vice President, the Honorable Saleban Dahir, the Secretary of the Bureau, and several other members of the Parliament. As part of hands-on workshop, a parliamentary simulation was organized. The students, divided into roles of ministers and parliamentarians, examined a fictional draft law concerning the creation of a playground in the city of Ali Sabih. This activity is part of the National Assembly's Citizen Outreach Program, which regularly hosts students from different regions of the country in order to provide them with a practical introduction to Republican institutions and strengthen their civic education. At the end of this citizen immersion experience, the teachers and parents expressed their sincere gratitude to His Excellency, the President of the National Assembly, Mr. Dileita Mohamed Dileita. An important ceremony took place this morning at the Ministry of Economy and Finance, presided over by the Minister himself, Mr. Ilyas Musa Dawali. This event marked the signing of a financing agreement amounting to 3.8 million euros, aimed at strengthening the country's socio-economic development efforts with a particular focus on youth employment. This project, named EU Youth Djibouti, is the result of a partnership between the European Union, the French Development Agency, and the Djiboutian authorities. It comes at the crucial time as the youth unemployment rate remains concerning. The primary objective of the program is twofold: to improve the employability of young people, especially women, and to enhance the dialogue between training providers and economic stakeholders. Among the dignitaries present were Mr. Denise Elena Lunetti, Ambassador of the European Union to Djibouti, Mrs. Dana, Ambassador of France. According to the organizers, this funding will specifically be used to modernize vocational training centers, create a bridge between schools and businesses. This initiative is part of broader strategy for supporting Djibouti's human and economic development, a country increasingly relying on its youth. In his speech, Mr. Ilyas Musa Dewale emphasized that the future of our country also depends on our ability to sustainably integrate new generations into the workforce. He added, by providing training and more support, we empower young people to build their own future while strengthening the competitiveness of our economy. And now the Ministry of Labour indicate that this initiative is part of the broader strategy of supporting Djibouti's human and economic development, a country increasingly relying on its youth, its sport, its strategic location, and its regional ambitions to position itself as a key hub in the Horn of Africa. The Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training, in partnership with the Association for the Promotion of Physical Education in School Sports, APEPS, inaugurated the Eclar Djibouti this morning at the ceremony held at the Excellence School. The event was presided over by the Minister Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud, accompanied by his colleagues, including Mr. Radwan Abdullahi Badon, Minister of Communication, Mrs. Muna Osman Adan, the Minister of Women and Family, as well as the Prefect of the city, Mr. Abdi Sikiye. Upon arrival, the ministerial officials were warmly welcomed by the participants. The ceremony began with the national anthem, followed by the oath taken by 110 students and 30 teachers from schools across the capital and the 5 regions of the country. This first generation of Eclair was selected following the National Volunteer and Civism Week. The ceremony concluded with songs and dances, marking the beginning of a strong commitment from youth for the well-being of their homeland. The core values of the Eclair include respect, solidarity, responsibility, and a sense of service, principles essential for personal development and integration into community life. Mrs. Muna Usman Adan, the Ministry of Women and Family, expressed her full support for this initiative, praising Menfolk's commitment to this patriotic program designed to instill a sense of civic duty and national pride in the young generation. She emphasized the importance of such initiatives in shaping future leaders who are not only academically proficient but also actively engaged in contributing to their communities and the nation as a whole. The Minister Mustafa Mohamed Mahmoud also paid tribute to the pioneers of volunteering, recognizing their dedication and selfless service to the community. He emphasized that the movement aims to nurture a youth that is not only civically engaged but also deeply rooted in the cultural and Islamic values that define the country. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training highlighted that these values of respect, unity, and responsibility are crucial in building a cohesive society, and the program plays a key role in shaping young individuals who will contribute meaningfully to the nation's future. And now, as part of his tour of the interior region, the Ministry of Health, Dr. Ahmed Robli Abdullah, made a stop in the Ali Sabih region. Upon his arrival in the regional capital, he was warmly welcomed by the prefect of the region, Mr. Abdul Malik Mohamed Bonoita, and the president of the regional council, Mr. Shamarki Hassan Alale. This visit is part of a field-based initiative aimed at evaluating the performance of health facilities, particularly those located in remote areas, and identifying medical coverage needs in densely populated localities that lack healthcare posts. The ministry also presided over the closing ceremony of various specialized medical caravans deployed in 3 regions of the country. The mission began with a visit to the locality of Obole, where the ministerial delegation was warmly received by local authorities, including the prefect, the president of the regional council, elected officials, the director of the Ali Sabih Regional Hospital, and traditional leaders in a festive atmosphere fueled by an enthusiastic population. It is worth noting that Obole currently has no healthcare post despite its growing population. The community has repeatedly petitioned the government for the construction of such a healthcare facility. Throughout the routes leading to the ceremony site, local residents turned out in large numbers to express their joy and hope reading the minister's visit. During the ceremony, Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdullah engaged in direct dialogue with the population to discuss the possibility of constructing a healthcare post in the near future. Community leaders, regional figures, religious figures, and women's association took the opportunity to thank the President of the Republic for the project already implemented in their region. Following his visit to Obole, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble, continued his tour in the remote areas of the country with a stop in Asamo, located in the sub-prefecture of Al Alde, a place where the demand for healthcare equity is no longer negotiable but imperative. Welcomed with a great enthusiasm and celebration by a jubilant population, the ministerial delegation was received by the highest regional authorities, Prefect Abdul Malik Stir, Regional Abdul Malik Mahad Baruta, Regional Council President Shamarka Hassan Alale. Preceding the ministerial arrival, the medical caravan had already set up 2 days earlier in the modest premises of the local dispensary. A seasoned team of general practitioners and specialists, including ophthalmologists, offered free consultation and treatment to a large population. These medical caravans, now held regularly in all 5 interior regions, represent more than a one-off initiative. They embody a new philosophy of public service, that of a state moving toward its people, all the way to the most remote trails. Asamo did not receive medical care. It was also heard in a fraternal gathering with traditional leaders, women, youth, and village elders. The Ministry of Health listened closely to their expectation proposal. He solemnly reminded them that this approach, listening and implementing concrete solution. As a cornerstone of a new strategy, the minister also announced a pragmatic reform. From now on, nurses and midwives assigned to these remote areas will be selected directly from within the local communities, a smart way to connect skills with roots and service with solidarity. In his remark, the President of the Regional Council highlighted that this locality stands as a model of development and community engagement with the entire Ali Sabih region. He took the opportunity to recall the numerous development initiatives and public infrastructure projects that have been successfully implemented in recent years, including educational, healthcare, and water access programs. And now the Minister of Health expressed his heartfelt gratitude to the people of Asamo for the warm and enthusiastic welcome extended to both himself and his delegation. He acknowledged the strong sense of community and hospitality that characterized their reception. The Minister Ahmed Roble Abdullah further emphasized the critical importance of engaging directly in local residents, as this face-to-face interaction allows for deeper understanding of their specific healthcare needs and challenges. And now, as part of the process of reclassification of least development countries, a preparatory meeting of local points for sectoral ministries was held today at the Sheraton Hotel. This process is part of a global initiative led by the United Nations system, with a specific delegation at the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, tasked with conducting a thorough study on the graduation of certain. The study focused on an example of 6 countries, including Djibouti. As a result of this evaluation, Djibouti was deemed eligible for graduation for the LDC category, having met one of the 3 required criteria, namely the gross national income per capita. This achievement is a recognition of the country's economic development efforts and stability, while also highlighting the persistent challenges related to structural vulnerability and development of human capital. And now, on the evening of Saturday, May 10th, 2025, two facilitators from the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Mr. Adel Mahmoud Jama from Mulut CDC and Ali Ismail Ali from the Adailu CDC, left Djibouti for France, Marseille, to participate in a 2-week training on library management. This training is part of the cooperation program between Kobiak and the Republic of Djibouti, aims to strengthen the skills of regional facilitators in organizing, managing, and animating community libraries. The departure of the two facilitators took place at Djibouti International Airport in the presence of the Director of the Ministry of Youth and Cultural Regional Affairs and the Director of Youth Social Integration and Volunteering. This initiative is part of the Minister's Public Reading Development Policy and its commitment to promoting access to culture and books in rural regions and localities through the enhancement of skills enhancement of the skills of human resources mobilized. And now for the international news, as I mentioned on the top stories, Israel announced a temporary ceasefire to free hostage Alexander Aden. Netanyahu said, "We are not respecting any ceasefire in Gaza, only a secure corridor to release Alexander." Hamas confirmed on Monday the release of the American-Israeli hostage Aden Alexander. The Israeli army had previously announced a temporary ceasefire in Gaza. This decision comes with a halt to airplane and drone flights over the Gaza Strip in order to ensure a secure passage for the release of the hostage. In addition, an Israeli source indicated the preparation are underway for Aden Alexander's release later in the day, specifying that the opening of negotiations to end the war in Gaza remains contingent on the release of at least half of the detainees. The United States and the United Kingdom have called on India and Pakistan to maintain the ceasefire and continue communication, as the Pakistani military claimed to have restored the principle of deterrence, while its Indian counterpart hailed on Monday the return to calm between the two sides. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio had a late-night conversation on Sunday with his British counterpart David Lammy. They discussed the current tension between India and Pakistan. Rubio stated that the United States support direct dialogue between India and Pakistan. In Islamabad, the Pakistani armed forces announced on Monday that they had struck 26 Indian targets as part of the Al-Bunyan al-Marsus operation. The Pakistani military spokesperson denied any ceasefire violation, starting during a press conference with representatives of the Air Force and Navy. Donald Trump praised the leaders of both countries for their agreement on the ceasefire and stated that he would significantly increase trade exchanges with them. And this is it for this 9 p.m. English news edition. Thank you for watching us. Stay tuned for more on RTD.